In the heart of a bustling city, surrounded by the sands of Arabia, stands a simple yet profound structure. It is a cube, draped in black silk and gold. This is the Kaaba. It sits in the city of Mecca, in modern-day Saudi Arabia, within the grand courtyard of the largest mosque in the world, the Masjid al-Haram. For billions of people, this is not just a building. It is the most sacred place on earth. It is a spiritual compass, a focal point for a faith that spans every corner of our planet. Its presence has shaped history, inspired art, and guided the lives of countless souls for centuries. It's a quiet giant, holding the prayers and hopes of a global community. What is it about this simple cube that draws such devotion? Its power doesn't come from ornate decorations or towering height. Instead, its significance lies in its meaning. Muslims believe it is the first house of worship built on earth, a place dedicated solely to the one God. It is often called the Beit Allah, which means the house of God. This isn't to say that God lives inside it, but rather that it is a symbolic home, a physical space on earth that represents God's sacred presence among us. It's a reminder that no matter where we are, we can always find a connection to something greater than ourselves, a connection that is both personal and shared by millions. The story of the Kaaba is a story that connects us back to the very dawn of monotheistic faith. Islamic tradition tells us that it was first built by Adam, the first man, as a place to worship God. Over time, through floods and the passage of ages, it fell into ruin and was forgotten. It was then that the prophet Abraham, a figure revered in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, was commanded by God to travel to this barren valley with his son Ishmael. Together, they rebuilt the Kaaba on its original foundations. They raised its walls, stone by stone, re-establishing it as a beacon for all who seek to worship the one true God. This act of rebuilding was more than just construction. It was a renewal of a covenant, a promise between humanity and the divine. Abraham and Ishmael prayed that this place would be a sanctuary, a center for pilgrimage for generations to come. Their prayers were answered. Today, the Kaaba stands as a testament to their faith and obedience. It is a physical link to the ancient prophets and a powerful symbol of humanity's enduring quest for connection with God. Its stark, simple form reminds us that at the heart of faith, the most important thing is not complexity, but pure, unwavering devotion to a higher power that unites us all. 5 times a day, something remarkable happens across the globe. From the busiest cities to the most remote villages, over 1 billion Muslims pause their lives. They turn to face in a single, unified direction to pray. This direction is called the Qibla, and at its heart is the Kaaba. Whether you are in a skyscraper in New York, a hut in Indonesia, or a field in Nigeria, your Qibla points directly to that simple black cube in Mecca. This act creates an invisible web of devotion that connects every Muslim on earth, turning the entire planet into a vast virtual mosque with the Kaaba at its center. It's a powerful expression of unity and shared purpose. This practice of facing the Kaaba began in the early days of Islam. Initially, the first Muslims, including the Prophet Muhammad, prayed facing Jerusalem, a city holy to both Jews and Christians. This showed a connection to the shared Abrahamic heritage. However, about a year and a half after the Prophet migrated to the city of Medina, a new revelation came from God. The command was given to change the direction of prayer towards the Kaaba in Mecca. This moment was pivotal. It established a unique identity for the Muslim community, giving them a distinct spiritual center that was rooted in the ancient traditions of Abraham and his monotheistic message. The Qibla is more than just a direction for prayer. It is a profound symbol of spiritual alignment. By turning their bodies towards the Kaaba, Muslims are also turning their hearts and minds towards God. It is a physical act that reflects an inner state of submission and focus. It reminds the faithful that despite their diverse cultures, languages, and backgrounds, they are all part of one single community, the Ummah, united in their worship. In a world often divided by borders and differences, the Qibla serves as a constant, daily reminder of a shared identity and a common spiritual home that transcends all earthly divisions. Think about the science and knowledge that this simple instruction inspired. To find the correct direction of the Kaaba from anywhere in the world, early Muslim scholars had to excel in geography, astronomy, and mathematics. They developed sophisticated instruments like the astrolabe and created incredibly detailed maps of the world. The need to determine the Qibla drove scientific innovation and expanded our understanding of the planet. So in a way, this spiritual requirement helped fuel a golden age of science, showing how faith and reason can work together. pushing humanity to explore both the heavens and the earth in its quest to connect with the divine. Once in their lifetime, every Muslim who is physically and financially able is required to make a sacred journey. This journey is called the Hajj, and its destination is Mecca to visit the Kaaba. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, a fundamental duty of the faith. The Hajj is not a vacation, it is a profound spiritual pilgrimage that strips away the distractions of worldly life. Millions of people from every corner of the globe gather, shedding their signs of wealth and status. They wear simple white garments, symbolizing purity and the equality of all people before God. It is one of the largest and most diverse annual gatherings of humanity on the planet. The rituals of the Hajj reenact the stories of Abraham, his wife Hagar, and their son Ishmael. Pilgrims circle the Kaaba, just as the angels are believed to circle God's throne in heaven. They walk briskly between 2 small hills, Safa and Marwa, commemorating Hagar's desperate search for water for her infant son. They travel to the plain of Arafat, where they stand from noon to sunset, praying and seeking God's forgiveness. This is the spiritual peak of the Hajj, a rehearsal for the Day of Judgment, where each soul stands alone before its Creator. Every step of this journey is steeped in history and deep spiritual meaning. The central point of the Hajj is the Kaaba. The pilgrimage begins and ends with it. The first ritual upon arriving in Mecca is the Tawaf, the act of circling the Kaaba 7 times. This constant, flowing movement of people around the cube creates a powerful visual metaphor for a faith in constant motion, with God at its center. It is a deeply moving experience for those who participate. They are walking in the footsteps of prophets and saints, part of an unbroken chain of pilgrims stretching back thousands of years. For many, touching or seeing the Kaaba for the first time is the culmination of a lifetime of prayer and longing. The Hajj is a powerful lesson in humility, patience, and unity. In the midst of millions, individual identity fades into a collective whole. A king from a wealthy nation stands shoulder to shoulder with a poor farmer from a remote village, both dressed in the same simple cloth, both calling out the same prayers. It breaks down barriers of race, nationality, and social class. The experience often transforms people, sending them home with a renewed sense of faith, a deeper connection to their global community, and a profound understanding that in the eyes of God, all of humanity is truly one family. At first glance, the Kaaba appears as a simple, unadorned cube. It is made of granite from the hills near Mecca, and its dimensions are modest, about 13 meters high, 11 meters wide, and 12 meters long. It is not a grand cathedral or a towering temple. Its power lies in its simplicity and its ancient roots. The structure we see today has been rebuilt and repaired several times over the centuries due to natural disasters and conflicts, but its foundations remain the same ones laid by Abraham and Ishmael. This continuity is part of its sacredness. It is a house that has weathered the storms of time, a constant presence in an ever-changing world. One of the most distinctive features is a golden spout, the Mizab al-Rahma, which means the spout of mercy. It juts out from the roof on one side. Its purpose is practical, to drain rainwater from the flat roof of the Kaaba. But in this sacred space, even the practical becomes spiritual. The water that flows from this spout is considered blessed. Pilgrims will often try to stand beneath it during a rare rainfall, hoping to be touched by this water of mercy. The spout itself is made of solid gold, a beautiful and ornate detail on an otherwise stark structure, symbolizing the preciousness of the divine mercy that flows from God. The Kaaba has only one door, which is raised about 2 meters above the ground to protect the interior from floods and to manage the flow of crowds. Today, the door is a magnificent work of art, made of solid gold with intricate inscriptions from the Quran. The inside of the Kaaba is not a public space. It is opened only a few times a year for special cleaning ceremonies, attended by visiting dignitaries and guests. The interior is simple, with marble floors and walls, 3 wooden pillars supporting the roof, and several lamps hanging from the ceiling. Its emptiness is significant. It reinforces the idea that God is not confined to a physical form or space within the building. Surrounding the Kaaba is the vast courtyard and the structure of the Masjid al-Haram, the Grand Mosque. This mosque has been expanded over the centuries to accommodate the growing number of pilgrims. It is a city within a city, a sprawling complex of prayer halls, minarets, and courtyards. Yet, no matter how large the mosque becomes, the Kaaba remains its undeniable heart. All the architecture, all the grand arches and towering minarets are designed to orient the visitor towards this one central point. the mosque serves the Kaaba, framing it and presenting it as the jewel at the center of the Islamic world. Embedded in the eastern corner of the Kaaba, about 1.5 meters off the ground, is a stone that is more revered than any other on earth. This is the Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone. It is set in a silver frame and has a dark reddish-black color with a smooth, worn surface from the touch of countless hands and lips over centuries. For pilgrims, the black stone is the starting and ending point for the tawaf, the ritual of circling the Kaaba. Those who can get close enough will try to touch or kiss it, following the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad. It is the most tangible point of connection for pilgrims visiting the house of God. The stories surrounding the black stone are as ancient as the Kaaba itself. Islamic tradition holds that the stone came from heaven. It was given to Adam when he was expelled from paradise, as a reminder of his celestial home and a token of God's forgiveness. It is said to have been originally pure white, brighter than milk, but it turned black over the ages by absorbing the sins of the humans who touched it. When Abraham and Ishmael were rebuilding the Kaaba, the angel Gabriel brought them this stone to be placed in the corner as a marker for the pilgrimage rituals. This story imbues the stone with a powerful spiritual legacy, linking it to the very beginning of humanity's story on earth. It is very important to understand that Muslims do not worship the black stone. It is simply a stone. It has no divine power in and of itself. This was made clear by one of the Prophet Muhammad's closest companions, Umar ibn al-Khattab. While kissing the stone, he famously declared, "I know that you are a stone and can neither benefit nor harm. If I had not seen the messenger of God kissing you, I would not have kissed you." This statement is a cornerstone of Islamic belief, emphasizing that all worship is directed only to God. The stone is revered because the Prophet revered it. It is a point of ritual connection, not an object of worship. The act of touching or kissing the stone, or even pointing towards it from a distance, is a symbolic gesture. It is a way of sealing a pact with God, a renewal of one's faith. It connects the pilgrim directly to the Prophet Muhammad and to a tradition that has remained unbroken for over 14 centuries. In the crush of the crowd, with everyone striving for that single point, the gesture becomes an act of humility and devotion. It is a silent acknowledgement of a sacred history, a physical touchpoint that links the earthly world of the pilgrim to the divine world of heaven, from which the stone is believed to have come. Every year, the Kaaba receives a new covering. This magnificent black cloth, known as the Kiswah, is one of the most iconic symbols associated with the holy site. It is made of pure silk and is adorned with intricate embroidery in gold and silver thread. The inscriptions are verses from the Quran, beautifully rendered in Arabic calligraphy. The process of creating the Kiswah is a year-long labor of love, undertaken in a special factory in Mecca by highly skilled artisans. It is a tradition that represents immense honor and devotion, a beautiful gift presented to the house of God on behalf of the entire Muslim community. The tradition of covering the Kaaba is very old, predating the arrival of Islam. In pre-Islamic Arabia, different tribes and rulers would compete for the honor of draping the structure, often in fabrics of various colors like red or striped Yemeni cloth. When the Prophet Muhammad conquered Mecca, he established the tradition that we see today. He covered it with a white Yemeni cloth. Later caliphs used different colors, but the black Kiswah became the standard during the Abbasid Caliphate, and it has remained the tradition ever since. The black color gives the Kaaba its powerful and awe-inspiring presence, a stark contrast to the white garments of the pilgrims who circle it. The changing of the Kiswah is a significant event. It takes place on the 9th day of the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah, the day when pilgrims are gathered at Mount Arafat during the Hajj. As the courtyard around the Kaaba is nearly empty, officials and workers ascend the structure to remove the old cloth and drape the new one. The old Kiswah is then cut into small pieces and given as precious gifts to dignitaries, museums, and individuals. Owning a piece of the Kiswah is considered a great blessing, a tangible connection to the holiest site in Islam. The entire process is one of reverence and meticulous care. The Kiswah is more than just a decorative covering. It is a symbol of the deep respect and veneration that Muslims have for the Kaaba. Just as we would dress in our finest clothes to meet someone of great importance, the Kiswah is the finest possible garment for the house of God. The golden band of calligraphy that encircles the top part of the Kaaba, known as the Hizam, contains verses that speak of God's glory and the sanctity of the pilgrimage. It is a message to all who see it. a constant proclamation of faith written in threads of pure gold, wrapping the sacred cube in the holy words of the Quran itself. Within the grand courtyard of the Masjid al-Haram, just a few steps away from the Kaaba, stands a small crystal and gold structure. Inside this enclosure is a stone. This is not just any stone, it is the Maqam Ibrahim, or the Station of Abraham. According to tradition, this stone bears the footprints of the Prophet Abraham. It is believed that he stood on this very stone while he was building the upper walls of the Kaaba, with his son Ishmael passing the stones up to him. The stone miraculously rose higher as the walls grew taller, acting as a divine scaffold. It is a direct physical link to the patriarch who re-established this house of worship. Pilgrims who complete their 7 circuits of the Kaaba are encouraged to perform a 2-unit prayer behind the Station of Abraham if possible. This act directly follows a command in the Quran, and take from the Station of Abraham a place of prayer. By praying here, the faithful are not only honoring God but also commemorating the legacy of Abraham, the father of monotheism. It connects them to the very foundation of their faith, placing their own footsteps in a space sanctified by the presence of a great prophet. The preservation of these footprints is seen as a miracle, a timeless reminder of Abraham's devotion and labor. Another area of immense spiritual importance is a small space between the black stone and the door of the Kaaba. This section of the wall, only about 2 meters long, is known as the Multazam. It is considered a place where prayers are especially likely to be answered. Pilgrims who manage to reach the Multazam will press their chests, faces, and hands against the wall, pouring out their hearts to God in personal supplication. It is a moment of intense, intimate, and often emotional connection. In the midst of millions, this small space offers a chance for a private conversation with the divine, a place to confess one's deepest fears and express one's greatest hopes. These specific locations, the Station of Abraham and the Multazam, add layers of meaning to the experience of being at the Kaaba. They transform the space from a single focal point into a landscape rich with spiritual significance. Every corner and every stone tells a story. They remind the pilgrim that this is not just a place for collective ritual, but also a place for personal reflection and connection. It is a space where the grand, sweeping history of a faith meets the intimate, personal journey of each individual soul, all gathered together in the shadow of Abraham's legacy. The Kaaba stands today as it has for centuries, a simple cube at the center of the world for one of the world's largest faiths. Its power does not come from its size or its grandeur, but from what it represents. It is a symbol of absolute monotheism, a house dedicated to the worship of one God, free of any idols or images. For over 1 billion people, it is the ultimate symbol of unity. It unites them in their daily prayers, bringing them together across continents and time zones. It unites them in their shared history, connecting them to the prophets who walked this earth thousands of years ago. And it unites them in their highest aspiration, the journey of Hajj. This simple structure has had a profound impact on the world, far beyond its spiritual significance. As we have seen, the need to locate its direction from any point on Earth spurred incredible advances in science, mathematics, and cartography. The annual pilgrimage created one of history's greatest crossroads, a place where ideas, cultures, and goods were exchanged. The Kaaba has been a center of gravity, pulling people together and, in doing so, pushing human knowledge and civilization forward. It has been a focus of political power, with rulers throughout history seeking the prestige of being the custodian of the 2 holy mosques. In our modern world, which often feels fragmented and divided, the Kaaba offers a powerful message. It teaches us that it is possible for people from every race, nation, and walk of life to come together. It shows that beneath our external differences, we can find a common purpose and a shared identity. The image of millions of people circling the Kaaba, moving as one body, is a breathtaking vision of human solidarity. It is a reminder that we are all part of something much larger than ourselves, connected by an invisible thread of faith and a shared human story. Ultimately, the mystery of the Kaaba is not in its stones or its golden adornments. The mystery is in the human heart. It is the story of our unending search for meaning, for connection, and for a place to call our spiritual home. The Kaaba is a testament to the power of faith to build bridges, to inspire devotion, and to unite humanity in a common quest for peace and understanding. It is more than a building. It is an idea, an anchor, and a timeless promise that no matter how far we may wander, there is always a center to which we can return.